Welcome to the Guns and Noses podcast. My name's Helen Taylor and I am the owner of Guns and Noses, and I own 3 Labradors. We're here to talk about real moments, real lives, and the wins, the wobblers, and the occasional up yours moments. We're talking about those dogs with enthusiasm and us humans who are trying to keep up. So why don't you sit back, grab a brew, slow down, and listen in. Good morning to you all. Welcome to the Guns and Noses podcast. You're here with me, Helen, and my 3 dogs, Jack, Red and Sky, and I hope you've all had a really wonderful weekend and you are looking forward to the week ahead and some sunshine. I hope just some sunshine. Today I want to talk about down meaning down and off meaning off. So last week we spoke about the difference between the leave it and the drop it cue. And I speak to that many people about being clear in our messaging, about being clear to our dogs and keeping things really simple. And one of the things that I do hear quite regularly is people using the word down when it means get off the furniture for them or stop jumping up. So get your feet off something, but they use the word down. Now, when we get a puppy or a new dog, usually what we teach, the first thing is a sit and then a down, which means lying down. So lay your belly on the ground. But then people automatically use the word down to get them off something. So get down off the counter, get your feet down from jumping up at somebody, get down from the sofa. But what we're actually telling them, if we have trained the down to mean lay on your belly, is to lay down in that moment. And so then that makes no sense. The dog gets really quite confused. So if we use the word off instead, so have a separate cue. Now, some people, what they do is they teach a lay, which means lay down, and then a down, which means get off something. But I like to keep training so simple and so clear and so easy for people to understand that down means lay yourself on the ground and off means get your feet off, get off the sofa, get off the windowsill, get off that person. And then this can make it really clear. But one of the reasons why dogs keep needing the cue off, so get off that, get off me, is because we haven't taught them an alternative. So if you have a dog who jumps up a lot, whether that be you or other people, and we keep being drawn into their behavior, so they jump up at you and you're going, get off, get down, get down. We've been drawn into that. And so we are effectively, without realizing it, reinforcing that behavior in that moment. So what I try and get people to understand is what triggers our dogs to do that behavior. So the jumping up in the first place, is it just the visual presence of somebody that might come through the door in your house, or they might greet you in the street and the first thing your dog does is lift their feet off the ground and jump up at them? We need to make sure that we curate in that moment a better positive outcome. So instead of waiting for your dog's feet to leave the ground and them using you as a springboard, what we could do instead is recognize the triggers, recognize when they do it, and start to change the picture in the dog's mind as to what we want instead. So something that would be more appropriate would be a sit in front of you rather than them launching themselves at you and using you as a springboard and just, sort of creating chaos in the hallway. So if it is that your dog greets you at the door, what you could do is you could leave a little pot of treats outside the door. As you arrive home, you grab a handful of treats. As you come through the door and your dog comes to greet you, hold your hand out with the goodies in it and say to your dog, sit. Because sit is one of the strongest cues that people ever teach. It's the first one that most people teach when they bring a dog home. So whether that's a puppy or a rescue dog. And it's the one that actually dogs have probably been generalized the most to. So it's the one that we ask for in most locations. So when your dog comes to greet you, hold your hand out with those treats in it, say the word sit, reward them for doing it. Now, if once you give them that goodie, your dog then carries on and jumps at you, you again need to recognize that pattern. So the patterns that unfold in a dog's mind as to what they are going to do in a certain moment. So if you take that goodie, you go through the door, you hold your hand out, you tell the dog to sit, you give them a treat, you know that once you release that treat, they are going to jump back at you again. What you're going to do is have another one in your hand and throw it away from you. So you throw it down the hallway or you throw it into the living room or something like that. Or what you could also do is repeat that cue. So talking about the cue sandwich a couple of podcasts ago, you can say sit, give them the treat, and as you give them the treat, good dog, as you take your hand away, just remind them sit. And what should happen is your dog should really hear that. They could be too excited in that moment. Of course they can. And there's always differences to everything that we suggest on any training modem, because every dog is different and no dog or not many dogs fit into textbook. So what we have to think about is our dog, what our dog perceives as the picture, what our dog sees as the right thing to do. So if your dog then goes to jump up after you've given them that first goodie, just remind them of what it is that you want, sit, and then walk on past them and try and get low to the ground so that they're not having to greet you. So that's one of the biggest things. Dogs want to see our faces. If you imagine them as a puppy, we pick them up, we cuddle them, they give us kisses in our faces. You know, they're very high up into our faces from being a very, very young dog. And they want to keep doing that even when they get older, even when they get to being like a 30, 35 kilo Labrador. And so what we find is that they want to keep doing that. So if we get ourselves down on the ground, that can really help as well. But I'm kind of going off topic a little bit here because this is all about cue clarity, and this is all about you making sure that you give the right message to your dogs and making sure that your dogs understand what you want from them. So when we say down, make sure that in your mind, you know that down means what you're saying. Have you trained it to mean lay on the ground, or have you trained down to mean get your feet off? If you've trained it to mean get your feet off and you've trained a lay, which means lay your belly on the ground, then that's absolutely fine. You've got it right. But just make sure that you are being really clear with your dog, that your dog understands exactly what it is that you're asking for, and make sure that you're keeping things really super simple. Now, some people do really struggle with this because naturally what comes out of their mouths is, especially in moments of sort of high energy or a little bit of panic, you know, it doesn't matter if we get it wrong every now and again, but the way that we grow as dog owners and the way that we start to get things right is on reflection. So this week, I want you to really think about, what does your cue down mean? And what do you mean, or what do you want to say when you want your dog's feet off something? So that's your reflection for this week. Are you getting that right, or are you confusing your dog? And if it's the latter, then we can do something about it. We can change what we say. We can change the cues. Absolutely. We really can. But if we don't reflect on it and then start getting it right, we will always get that frustration and we will always get it wrong. And that means that our dogs will always get it wrong. And the ones who suffer are usually the dogs, because they can't say to us, hey, you've just said that wrong, or you've just given me the wrong cue. That's exactly what you did say. If you are really struggling with your dog, remember we're dealing with high energy, high drive, enthusiastic dogs here, and they can be quick. They can think a lot faster than we can. They can react a lot faster than we can. But if you've got a dog like that and you're really struggling, please do come and join us in the Insiders Club. It's an online membership where you can get support, you can get community, you can get clarity of lots of different things. You get monthly Q&A sessions, monthly sip and train sessions. You've got your Trello boards, which have got cues on to help you train extra things. There is so much in the club. And as a founder member, because I've still got places for those, you get 25% off your monthly subscription for the time that you are within the club. So if you'd like to come and join us, I'll pop the link in the bio. You can head there, use the code FOUNDER, and that will get you your 25% off. But until next week, enjoy your week, have a beautiful time, and keep training kindly. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode helped you slow down, feel seen, or think a little differently about your dog, then it's done its job. Remember, progress isn't about perfection, it's about observation and reflection. You're not behind, you're not failing, and you're definitely not alone. Until next time, keep training kindly and try to keep up.